Hello, what's up, y'all? Yet another live coding session on Tuesday. Let me also quickly discover how I can turn off notifications on Discord so we don't get any here sounds. All right. Coolio. Let's go. So last time we left off, it was a quite a stream to easily forget, I hope. And I want to not be repeated. So I made the mistake of not cleaning my hard drive. I did delete the stuff, but it was still in the trash, so I had a bunch of pent up disk space that was completely unnecessary. But I ended up deleting it and then having to restart IntelliJ, and it took me like a full hour to completely re-index all of the stuff. And then at least at that point I was back in the clear. And what we were doing, in fact, was we were gonna try and set up our app so that it gets deployed on the web server, also on the Spring Boot web server, so that we can check if the routing in fact also works, or would in fact work when I would deploy it that way. That's the idea there. By the way, I'm gonna take a sip. We're drinking Karmeliet today, regular old Karmeliet. Skål. Yummy. Yeah. So, we want our links to be shareable with your friends, i.e. sworn enemies, so that they can just paste those links in their browser and we'll have the correct page loader for them. So it's when you challenge somebody. Yeah? To do that, I was thinking, oh, let's hook that into the init function, but when we link to a URL, such as this, the LiveElm plugin tries to render an index HTML and tries to look for it, at least in the challenge path, but it doesn't exist here. So I didn't really understand why that happened. But then to circumvent that, we tried to have the page load occur via a button from within the Elm loop using push URL. That's, at least at that point, we stayed within the Elm context, but then we don't pass via the init function anymore. And this is the one that's trying to fetch the opponent's player info. So only when you do like a hard page refresh, at that point we enter the init function and it's trying to fetch the opponent's player info. And what I wanted to learn is what happens if you try it out as if it were actually hosted somewhere. So basically serve the Elm frontend via Spring Boot, if we would get the same behavior. So at that point, we get this stuff in the console. So we get a 404, where it's refusing to apply the style, whatever, and Elm is not defined, and we get some other stuff in the console. And then in the network tab, it sort of looked like this, where you can first see that there's a document being fetched, and then the script is being, or the browser is also trying to load the script there, but still no worky. So yeah, don't really know what's happening there, and today we're gonna try and figure that stuff out. Yeah, so I think it's quite a difficult problem if you don't know the solution. And I don't really know how much stuff I have in my toolkit to debug all of that stuff. So I do see that we've got some couple of local changes. Let's see which ones they are. So that stuff is fine. Ah, yeah. We also had to disable security so that we wouldn't get 401s anymore. So this stuff we're getting after we allowed any old access, in fact. Don't really know. Yeah, so we commented out the /API stuff that you need to be authenticated there, but in fact it doesn't even matter. I don't think, because we don't even do calls to /API here. I think this was the one that actually disables it, in fact. The actual security stuff that now gets disabled. So let's see, what OS is this? This is OS X. OS X. So I'm developing on a Mac. We are not running anything, so let's fix that. Oy. Oh yeah, there isn't a thing there. What? Pro Max Rich. Yes. Pro Max Rich to you too. Alright. Let's get rid of that stuff, or maybe keep it because it still has the output that I would like to have. I do still have my kidneys. So I didn't have to sell them to buy the Mac. But in fact it's the company that I work for that supplied me with this machine. It's nice, it's a win-win, because then I am able to work for them and I also get to develop in my free time. It's fun, huh? Forgot what this means. Ah yeah. Okay, that's also another thing I tried. So this was what's happening when we click the button, we get actual routing, but then when I refresh this page, it don't work. So we have two scenarios now. So either the page works, but the name of the person that we're trying to challenge doesn't, or is not rendered. The reason for that being that, where is it? The home model, no, I need the challenge model. The opponent ID and nickname remain empty. And they should be getting filled in the moment I hit my init function, but then that's not being hit when you manually navigate, let's say. So when you refresh, then it would hit that init, but then we're getting 404s now. Saying that, oh, I can't find anything of Elm there. So we're getting the same error, in fact, that we do get when it's deployed. Oops. 8080. Okay, it looks a bit different. We'll ignore that. Let me just paste that. We get the exact same error message. So also Elm is not defined. Just too bad. Do we also get the style sheet stuff? No, that we don't get. Oh, that's interesting. Yes. Anywho, we're getting some other stuff, probably because of the mime type there. We might need to fix that in our application here, so that we, This is a way to forward all of the calls basically that end up at the root, I think. So anything that has root and then not /API basically, then we just forward that stuff to the static files that are being served, or that's at least the idea there. However, so that looks like that stuff. So I guess we also have some other stuff to fix there at some point. Because for some reason Elm doesn't, or the UI part doesn't include the full width here anymore. It's really strange that it tries to do that. Might have to do with its stuff being wrapped in some other stuff, like other elements I mean, but I don't care about the stuff for now. So yeah, here exactly the same problem. I believe that we do get like an actual thing here. So the reason that this is happening is the call works because we disabled security. So let's say that I put this stuff back. I think when we do this, it's still, okay, it's going to break, I think. Well, let's verify that. So then I guess what we'll do there is we'll say you still need to protect all of your resources using JWTs, where you try this to resolve tokens out of a cookie. And then we're still gonna try and authorize any request, but then as anonymous. So ideally, we don't need any authentication there. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Anonymous. Incognito. Does the 23 stand for the rest of the letters of anonymous? Like in internationalization, where it's spelled like this. All right, my backend is back up. Let's try it out. So we'll navigate back to 8000, not log in, and I think, oh no, we're still getting, wait, let me wipe this, refresh. Oh no. So I guess now the calls are also still just fine. Interesting. Mr. Rat. Yeah. We are getting 403s now. Forbidden. I wonder why that is. It's probably because we are sending a token now on all our calls, and then Spring Security is not able to, in fact, recognize it because we don't authorize anything here. Let me check if when we go to challenge something, I should have cleared it, I guess. Yeah, we're not getting 401s or 403s now anymore, which was a problem before. All right. I guess this can go back then. Because that means we can just test stuff. Bam, bam, bam. Without having to comment out security stuff. In fact, I should have converted that. Or reverted, sorry. Okay, so yeah, let's look at this stuff again. So we need to try to figure out why it is that, I guess it's Elm's fault then, that Elm is trying to load the rest of the page at index.html. And we can reproduce it either way. I don't speak C++ anytime, in fact, I'm so sorry. Guess the closest that I'll get is Java or Kotlin maybe. Yeah, I can't really code that language. It's funny that you say that I speak C++ sometimes. I do have the tendency to make it difficult for myself, so why not use C++, I guess? Well, it's just that one extra thing to learn, and then not really having much of an interest in learning that fact, so... you hate C++. What's up, Mr. Rat? Welcome back. Yeah. Do you which one do you really love then? Maybe that's a more positive note. Maybe you will love Go or Rust or something. Or Python. Python seems to be really popular. Okay, I think we'll have to learn a bunch of stuff about how Elm is loading itself into an app. I think we should look at Elm tutorial, like the main one, I mean. I think this one. Or maybe this is just about the language, or the framework, I mean. Java interop. Okay. You hate Python because your first language was C# and then Java, and Python just doesn't make any sense to me. I understand that completely. If you learn a typed language and then you have to go back to something that uses no types, I get it. All right, let's really look at this, read this page. So serve the page. The compiler produces HTML by default. The compiler produces HTML. The output of the file would be named index.html, that you can serve like any other HTML file. That works fine, but you can get a bit more flexibility by compiling Elm to JavaScript and making your own custom HTML file. So that's the thing we're in fact doing when we use make. This will produce main.js, which you can load, yeah. And I think this is in fact what we do. Let's see, yeah. Oei. Ai nee. Set up toolchain. I click the button. Now what? Rien. Maybe this was a problem before as well. That's the one that I need. I think I clicked it, but I'm not sure if it's gonna work. Oy. I also want this. And then what? It should be in here. Right. Elm format. Elm crap. I think it might be just that. let's look at that. So I think normally in my package JSON, no, there's no Elm format there. And then here you don't get or you don't need a reference to Elm format in effect. Honestly, I thought you didn't need that anymore because okay, I guess then it'll be somewhere here where you can configure some stuff. Languages and frameworks. Okay, voila. So let's already discover that. So that's the good thing. And then I really thought I didn't need this. Well, okay. Let's just try setting it or installing it into the package JSON then. So let's create a new thing, and here I don't really remember. Is it like this? npm no, it's npm install Elm format save def. Holy crap. I'm afraid I tried to install it in the main. So now there's a bunch of files that I don't need here. It did not add node modules, I guess. Strange. Let's just try to repeat this thing. Okay. Now here's Elm format, and then hopefully we will be able to still do auto discover. Voila. Apply. Okay. And then hopefully at some point this stuff will compile, or I just may have to reopen it. I guess this is still a side effect from when I tried to kill IntelliJ last week. Fucking hell. Okay. Let's just try to reopen it. See what happens. Same thing, of course. Incognito carries a lot of hatred in his heart. I guess we'll just wait until scanning files is done. I don't know. In the meanwhile, we can read up on how this thing works. So what we do have in our index, because we do have an index HTML somewhere. Here it is. This one does Elm main init and passes the flags. So this function, or executed this function in fact to initialize the state of the program. And that's it. There's no, we register some ports there, but that's about it. So they don't really speak a lot more about how navigation works. What's up, newbiecorn? Are you not studying? We just saw how to serve one page, but say we are making a website like blah, has a bunch of pages. Aha. The simple way would be to serve a bunch of different HTML files. Yeah. That is exactly what the package website did. It works, it's simple, but it has some weaknesses. The screen goes white every time you load a new HTML. Yeah. Okay. Single page. Instead of creating our program with browser element or browser document, we can create a browser application, which we did. It extends the functionality of browser.document in 3 important scenarios. When the application starts, init gets the URL from the browsers that we do have. Someone clicks a link, it is intercepted as a URL request. So instead of loading, it just forwards basically, yeah? Or it gets intercepted by the Elm program, so this application thing. Okay. When the URL changes, the new URL is sent to onURL change, and the resulting message goes to update, where you can decide how to show the new page. Yeah, okay. But so it doesn't really mention what it does when you immediately enter, like from a total hard refresh on a page that you're trying to serve though. Getting ready to hit the bar. Oh, nice. Trying to figure out how to solve a simple ass task. That's my life in a nutshell, yeah. Trying to figure out how to solve simple tasks. If Stack Overflow doesn't know the answer, it's not a simple task. Every ID can have multiple instances. Every ID in your Firebase database can have multiple instances. That doesn't seem like it's a unique identifier then. And it must have ID, then a string by, then a string reason, and then a string points, and then an integer. So I know nothing about Firebase, in fact. Unicorn has the ID 1 by someone reason test points 1. Okay, seems like your regular old record. So how can ID have multiple instances of it? Don't get it. Or maybe you meant every record, probably. Or something, I don't know. I know nothing about Firebase. Just gonna leave it up to the chat. You just want to sum all of the points of all the records. Okay. Can you transform the problem to a more conceptual thing? I guess you're trying to make a sum out of something, out of a selection. Yikes. Glass is leaking. Or it's the condense, it's just the condense. Just keeping track of the URL, that's not what I want. This is a bunch of stuff, how that works. URL change, there are a couple of ways to get URL changed. Ah, okay. So maybe if I do a hard refresh, then we'll get a URL changed message maybe. When you get a link click, the push URL may not be given immediately. So the nice thing about having a separate URL change is that it does not matter how or when. All you need to know is that it did. A navigation key is needed to create. Yeah, I learned that the hard way the other time. When you create your program with the application, yeah. Guaranteeing that your program is equipped to detect these URL changes. If key values were available. And then what? In other kinds of programs, unsuspecting programmers would be sure to run into some annoying bugs and learn a bunch of techniques the hard way. So maybe we should look at these annoying bugs and then learn if there's some stuff in there that we should be doing instead. And it has the answer of the problem that we're getting. Okay, let's look at navigation. By the way, T Laments, I know you, man. I know you. Thank you for following. How's it going? It's been a long time. Let's check it out. We have an art website. Ooh. So this parsing we also have. I'm still looking for the example of what happens if you immediately open a URL. That should be like a hard link. So I'll get rid of this one. So this is the website that we currently have. Copy this. So normally there should be some stuff here that shows the, what's it called? The leaderboard. And then what I want to do is really serve this page when you do a harder refresh. Maybe, so now that I'm here anyway, let's make it a little bit bigger. So we get a URL changed after we clicked on the button, and the button, if I remember correctly, is nothing more than the push URL thing going off. So we go back to home, and there's a challenge button. Oh, dang it. Challenge button clicked. This uses push URL to just push that to the address bar. But so if I hard refresh this page, I'm not even getting, oh yeah, that's stupid of me. I'm not even getting an Elm debug window because Elm is not loaded, in fact. So I don't even know, or yeah, I don't even know anything in fact. So the weird thing is that something, and I don't know what it is trying to load main.js from the challenge and not from maybe it has something to do with my index.html, where we say this. So if we, maybe this is it. Just put a slash in front of it so that it always gets loaded from the root. Could be it. I think we do have to manually restart our server that way though. So let's try that out. All right. Oh my God, are you kidding me, bro? So dummy challenge, we click on it, we hard refresh. I guess I fixed it. I guess I fixed it, but then I also expected this thing to work. Let's see what happens if we hard refresh again. So do we pass the init function now or what? It doesn't seem like it, like we do, which is kind of weird. Don't know really why that is. In fact, this is still empty. We have the correct route. Maybe I'll go back to this page to check how they in fact set it up. So they do blah blah blah, and then no, it's still here. Yeah, no, they also ref it from the root. Well, not from the root, just as main.js. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna go and fix that. I think it's already fixed, in fact, because I only needed to change it there. My God, dude, it's just a single slash. Fuck. Okay, at least we learned something, yeah? I just hate it when it's like a stupid mistake like that. So now, even though our quote-unquote page was like /challenge/whatever, our main.js always will get loaded from the root. Once I get it, I can handle the DB part. Mutable map of... This looks like Kotlin, no? Mutable map. Let's see what that thing does. Now you've piqued my interest. Whoa, what's up? Thanks for the raid, does cheap. I hope you had a nice stream. We're just trying to figure some stuff out for the newbiecorn. But and then meanwhile we're still waiting for indexing to complete as usual. Well, it's not really usable. Alright, what the hell is all of this stuff? So I guess this string is your ID. So let's call it ID. And then we'll make a type alias ID equals string. This string here was your, what was it again? Reason? No, by. I'm just gonna assume that it's an author or something. Type alias author is also a string. And then you've got another thing called a reason, which might be empty. And then you've got your int, which is points. And these can actually, I hope they can never be negative. Point equals an int. And then this part here is, I guess, also your ID, or what is that thing? The thing I don't really get. So per ID, you want a list of, so this is not the same ID then. So maybe this ID is the comment ID or something, I don't know. And then this is the whatever ID, post ID, blog post ID or something. Blog post ID, something like that. Yeah, so I think what you're trying to do is you want to represent a relation result. So you might have, it's someone's ID, so maybe it's author ID then or something like that, I don't know. So you'll have a warning log system. Yeah, okay, whatever's. You've got an author ID, so just it's a person, and they've got a name and something else. I don't know. What do people have usually? An age? I don't know. Anything really. And then you've got a record type for this, which could be a comment. So let's say that this is a comment. You've got a comment ID, you've got an author name, I guess. Then you've got a reason and then points or whatever. And what you want to do is relate these type of records to this one. So what you'll want to do or want to have in your database is something like this. Foreign key author ID or something, so that you know who to relate it to. So let's name this to Warren ID. Why is it that you need to store everything in one variable? Is Firebase a document database? Because then this would just become your relation type, and then you should be fetching these. And then hopefully there's an abstraction where you can just say select author.warrens or something. Voila. So no SQL. So hopefully when you do this, you will just get these results back or something, huh? Isn't there like an SDK for that, for Firebase? That way you can probably do that a little bit easier that way. Let's do that. Kotlin, Firebase, SDK, I don't know. There you go. Oh yeah, you have a class for it. Okay. But then why do you have this mutable map of the destructured type, basically? Oh yeah. Oy. Your problem has suddenly become much more specific than I'm able to follow, I believe. You want to both update the cache and yeah. How big of a problem is it that you have a cache already? It's a bit chickening out there, right? Because then it's really not solving the problem that you have. It's just saying, do you really need a cache? I'm just glad we fixed my issue. Yeah, so I really don't know too much about Firebase, I'm afraid. I'm afraid I don't have time. It's really sad. But maybe one of the viewers can get in touch with you in Discord right now if you want. And then maybe now we can spam the Discord. Whoa, what? Weird. Yeah, that's right. But you can try to meet up later if you want. Okay. So now I wanted to know, when I do a hard refresh, what was the last event that we got? It's just home message. It's just instantly home message. So strange. Not even a picture on the Discord. Who, me? Well, yeah, of course, why not? I don't understand what that means. Can I use the server tomorrow? Huh? Yeah, like and it's just an S. Figure it out. It's, the name is also quite weird. It's the scallop stream. It's created on a whim, let's say. Just because somebody asked for it, and then that's what it resulted in. We'll have to do with that. And of course you can chat in the server. I mean, I don't really know what you meant when you said if you don't mind, can I use a server tomorrow? It's just a communication platform, right? So of course you can. Let's see, So good luck with your Firebase problem, and have a great night at the bar, or day at the bar. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah. So this is kind of strange, because the thing I expected was for it to have this thing. So when you click on that, funny. That it should have the URL changed thing, but it doesn't, in fact, so weird. Ah, it's a bot. Ah, okay. Yeah, of course you can use my server to add a bot. I hope you have permissions to do that, that I don't know. Maybe I'll already create a test channel or something. So now, indeed, if we do a hard refresh, we should try to figure out why it's not loading anything there. And then I guess also when you click on the button, it's also not loading. No, wait. So this one we know when you click on it, we understand why it's not loading. Because the reason is that we don't have a trigger on URL changed that is gonna try and fetch the opponent or your opponent. But if you do a hard refresh, then I don't understand how it is that we still end up in with this one. I don't get it. So this is all just the initial state of the challenge, yet it is being rendered, which is a bit wonky. And then here's like the main model. We're in idle. Here is the redirect URI. That's also not something that we need. Damn it, don't we like keep, here, current route. So I do think we pass init, but we instantly just get this one. It's kind of strange. Okay, let's figure that stuff out. Goh, so I really dislike this fact because I really try to be prepared this time. Before I went to eat dinner, I booted up IntelliJ to check that I wasn't gonna have this problem. Now, I don't know for whatever reason, but suddenly there wasn't an Elm compiler. We had to reconfigure that, and now it's indexing again. Okay, that sucks. And as I learned last time, indexing takes like, I don't know, 50 minutes or something ridiculous. Oh yeah. Honestly, I've never had it this bad before, you know? It used to work much faster. IntelliJ, that is, huh? So I don't know what happened there. All right, but so let's take a look again at our main. I mean, we can't even main.elm. I was gonna say we can't even look at or look up some stuff there. So the hard drive IntelliJ is installed on is a single one, and last week it was too full. This time it's okay. I fixed that problem last week, and I had to restart. I had to just cancel the stream. It was horrible. And then I continued playing Astroneer, if you know that game. It's really relaxing, which I needed. As I was updating IntelliJ again, or like fixing all of that stuff on my machine, and it took me an hour. It just took an hour. Yeah, okay. So normally we hit this init function. That's this one. And then, yeah, we actually really just do this. That's it. I could have sworn I updated this. I did not. Okay. That might be a great explanation then. So I did end up routing the stuff, but then I don't know. So now it makes sense that this is the last or the initial message that got fired. So how does it know? So it goes to fetch leaderboard, which just does perform fetch leaderboard. And then why does my Elm program render the main or the home page first? Because my route, like, hang on, because there's more happening here. Right, so when we have a success state, then what? Here. Init page. Case current route of this stuff. Then do this basically. Init page CMD, which is the last thing we do here. But then that means that we don't get, we're not in this case, in fact. That's probably why we don't get any flags or something. Yeah. So maybe this part. I think we're nearly there, huh? UI. The Elm.json. There you go. And some more IntelliJ indexing. Oh yeah, of course. Oh. I guess now it's gonna compile. Or not. Anyway. I guess I want to know which case I'm in here, so maybe I need to debug this to set a state of making the authorization request and to verify it after the redirection. So the thing I wanted to say here is that if you have no amp flags set or something like that, or basically when you were not when we were not redirected, then I think it might still hit this part, but I'm not sure. Or maybe it's here. That's gonna be it, I think. We haven't authenticated yet with OAuth. That's it. Okay. Jesus. Okay, I will try to explain. Hang on. So this stuff with the init page, yeah, we'll need to move higher up, I think, because then we need to reuse it a little bit higher. So I think before we do that, we do the fetch leaderboard. Now we can say init page is if we don't have a model here yet. Fucking, what the hell? Damn, okay. So we need to find a way to get the URL, and another way then getting it into the current route, because we don't have the model yet here. So I guess what we want to do first, empty model without token, and it has the URL. Okay, but there we pass it. So I guess the thing is, I don't know if, yeah, this part is always different because we want to keep our auth flow somehow. Fuck me. This has become like so much more difficult all of a sudden. So what we want to do is we want our route basically, so that we can get this part out of there. However, we only get that part there because this is where we create the URL, and then we do a URL, we do parse URL. Okay, so maybe this is the only thing I need to do, and then it's gonna probably be a better idea to create our model immediately with this part, because we're gonna have to do that anyway. Let's go to the model, so that we just always create a model with a route, and then these constructors with the URL will need to change with a route basically. Okay, so I made the wrong abstraction there is what I'm trying to say. Yeah? So it's fine that we still get the URL, but because that's one we get there. Okay, so if we case parse URL this stuff, then either we perform our routing. That's what this stuff does, and then we can understand. Are we at the challenge page with an opponent ID? In that case, use this thing to init your page with, basically. Ooh, we in fact also have to update our model, huh? No, that already happens, but then it's weird. Oh yeah, we are rendering the correct page, in fact, already. Okay. Let's save this. Then let's wipe some stuff. Let's do a hard refresh. Still getting nothing here. Did you try invalidate caches and restart to get rid of the slow indexing? So in my experience, if I do invalidate caches and restart, it's gonna do a reindex basically of everything. And I think that the slow indexing just happens when you or when IntelliJ thinks that it's necessary to update all of the indexes that it has, and that's, I think, what happened here. And I think the thing that triggered it was that my Elm plugin stopped working for some reason. Because I had to reattach my compiler, my Elm format, and what else was it again? I don't remember. I think that was it basically, but that probably triggered a reindex for some reason. Like of the full project then, I guess. And that's a bit annoying. Okay, so now let's see what we have. So we still get this as the last message. Okay, now I want to know. Oh yeah, I think we still need to use this. I'm not that smart. So now I moved this stuff up so that we in fact get the init page to be used in my empty OAuth stuff. And here I'm basically saying if you're on the challenge page, first do the init page of your challenge stuff. If you're not there, just do fetch leaderboard. So we'll save. It will auto refresh. Ah, this is better, I guess. Because now it's gonna try and do a get to 8,000 instead of /API. What the Fabane links? Why wouldn't not go to 8080? That's very strangey. Did I mess with the package JSON? Don't look like I did. So this, I think, is, at least it's my intent. Basically what this says is whenever you call anything to /API on the root, which is what we're doing here, huh? You do 8,000 and /API, then really what it should do is reroute you to 8080 /API. Now I don't know. Ah, yeah, okay, so it doesn't do that here either. Okay, so that's fine. So here we're actually getting a bad request from our backend then, if I conclude that correctly. Oh yeah, makes sense. We've got 0 players there. We are getting a bad request, and why is that? Because we don't get a token probably. Oh no, it's just couldn't find a player with ID. Okay. That seems really fair. The thing is, it doesn't seem like it's being transformed into a JSON, like a proper JSON, unless... Okay, yeah. We're just sending back text there, okay. And we don't have a way to actually display that stuff on the web page. Our model does get updated with it, I think. Yeah. Voila. We just don't display that anywhere, or we don't really handle that that part anywhere. Alright, and then the reason for that is just because my database is empty. And why is my database empty? That I don't really know why. Let's check it out. So our Docker containers are or have been running for a couple of days now. Maybe I just need to restart them? Don't really know. No, because you can access them. You can access the database. How come I have a scallop somehow? Maybe if I rerun my scenario test? Scenario. This one. Let's do registration scenario. Let's just try to run it. By the way, this time I brought myself a backup drink because my Carmelite is gone. So we're switching to the hard liquors. This is a Glenn Farclas, 21 years old. Very nice. I love it. So I think in the past, the registration scenario has every time just created a bunch of players for me. Now the thing, it says before each is gonna wipe databases. But in fact I'm incorrect. I think I'm just gonna restart this one. Because what I think will happen is it will create Scallop, the player, just by default. But I don't know, I don't really remember why. The other thing we could do is just register some new players using the normal flow, and then they should also become an actual player and they'll get an ID. But then I'll have to change the hard-coded ID that I'm forwarding to with that button. Okay, so the scenario tests are at least working still. That's great. This is restarting even though you don't really see it. Okay. I didn't even see that it was Karel that suggested this. What's up, man? Is this you making good on a promise? Because I believe you said last stream that you would check out the whole stream next time. What if I end up live coding into until 2 at night, 2 a.m.? Voila. Regenerate triggered with 1 player. Let's find out which ID was assigned. Yeah. So, of course, I wiped everything from IntelliJ since that restart, just to make sure that my project was able to load again. And that means that it also lost its database connection that it had before. We're running on a Postgres. I don't remember the exact details, so let's just save this stuff for now. And then, yeah, go look at my ops directory where I've got the Postgres running. We've got 2 databases here. I think it's the projections one that I want. Oh, already. Which is the most difficult thing to write? I guess it's this. So let's update. This is projections DB database. Let's call that user mumra snarf. Apply, and then we can yes for all. Then we do test connection. Fuck. Oh, it's hosted at 66669 test connection. Yay! Okay, so that's that one. Then I want to duplicate. Call it events DB. In this case, it's snarf and liono. And then it's called Postgres events DB. And we test this connection as well. Shit, it's on a different port, of course. Cancel. Should be at 8. Let's re-enter the password for good measure. And do test connection. Exciting, huh? Yay! Okay. Now, don't care about the events. I want to... Oh shit, I think I didn't specify the schema. So it's gonna run some analysis to figure out... Yeah. It's this one that I want for the projections DB. And I guess I'll have to do the same here. Oh, this one is already tagged. Cool. So, oh yeah. The Bane links. Why is this not? Yeah, okay, we're finally there. So there's one guy. Oh, it was fake registered. This fucking faker. So if we navigate here, it would mean that we are challenging Scallop. Ah. And now we're getting 401s because you're not authorized. Because the get player thing is supposed to be authorized, so maybe we should make that thing also unauthorized. I think that was an issue already with the leaderboards as well. Okay, so let's just first register, or not register, but log in. Oh, but we don't have another account. So let's log in Mr. Rat. That's right, Mr. Rat, you've got an account. It's called Mr. Rat. Now you can, so the application understands that even though you're successfully authenticated, we don't know you yet as a player. So now you are a player, voila. So then eventually you should also end up in the ranking here, but that stuff is eventually consistent. So then when I click on dummy challenge, the fetch is not gonna happen. So this makes sense, sort of. But then if we do a hard refresh, dang it, it's still not working. We're still getting a bad request. Ah yeah, okay, makes sense. It's the wrong ID. So we paste this one. Yay! And here I am. Okay, nice. Oh my god. Alright, so that's working. Hallelujah. Now we can continue with the rest of the story, I guess. Okay, so we've got the entry path. So when you open the page, there's some things that we need to deal with, and I don't really know where it's like the best idea to keep that information. Might be here. Because, I mean, I sort of keep my to-do list there. Oh, yikes. So basically we're working on this part now. And now we can say a bit like of the stuff that we still need to fix. Make sure calls to /API/leaderboard and API/players, I think. Maybe like get calls can be executed in an unauthenticated manner. Because when you get challenged via a URL, you don't necessarily already have an account. So it's a way to entice you as a player. Like, here's a link. This is what it looks like. You can just click on accept or something like that, and then you'll be redirected to log you in. But if we do this, then we can also test a bit more stuff more easily. And if anybody knows of a better icon to use for unchecked or things that aren't done yet, instead of like this red cross thing, because this to me also sort of implies that I'm not gonna do that, and that's not what I want. I just want an empty box so that I can check it. Maybe we can just check for that box. We could do this one, but those two are not alike enough. How would you call it? Unchecked? No. Dunno. An ellipsis. No dice. And it's not like Gitmoji can help me. The thing that we would use is like this, which is work in progress. Maybe that's already better than these X's, in fact. So at least then we know that it's being worked on. It's not yet done, it's being worked on. Even though it's not really being worked on, it's just something that I need to do. Yeah, it's already better. Okay, let's leave it at that. So now that I know I still have to figure this out at some point, we are in fact working on this here. Huh? So this is like the main thing we're working on now. But what was the thing that we're trying to do next then? Ooh, a hammer icon. That's, I think, used for tool Gitmoji. So if you update settings, for example, in Gradle or whatever, then properties, nee. If you do just hammer. Add or update development scripts. Yeah, and documentation, that's not it either. They added the bump effects. Yeah, that's another thing I used is a lit and an unlit bulb. You can use those in Jira because then you've got like unlit bulbs. It's really clear. But I'm not sure if there's such a thing as unlit bulbs in the regular emojis. No. So that's a one that's shining, but then see, it's really difficult. Memo. Oh yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. Voila. Thanks for the suggestion. That looks nicer. It's got like more neutral colors, huh? All right. So we've got the stuff working. I think what I want to do next is make sure that this only lives at one place, and that's gonna be quite difficult, I think. No. There was one thing that I wanted to do, because here... guess what we could do is already set up our model, because the only thing that's changing here is this part. So we do URL key, the OAuth thing, I think, and then the redirect URI. See, that's always the same. So if we change the order a bit of this one, then, and we move this middle part here to the back, I wonder if you can refactor. Oh, that's too bad. So URL key and an auth flow, let's move that to the end, like so. Now of course stuff has stopped or will have stopped working, because all of these, we should also fix that one, I think. Because here we want a token. I think the one that with the with token, we should move token to the back as well. Well, let's first refactor this one. Okay, so all of these things where it says blah blah blah, I wonder if I'm gonna be able to do this with a multi-cursor. God dang it. Okay, so let's first do it here then. That's also stuff that IntelliJ needs to fix. So what I want to do is, if I do expand selection, I actually want this cursor to be at the very end, so that then I can control shift right, or like shift right to select the next ones. So because now what I need to do is I need to use option shift right to select this, and then also select these. It's just like the minor annoyance. So then we'll use expand selection to correctly get that the middle part. Shit, I think what the fuck, pain links, dude. So for some reason challenge button clicked was there as well. Huh? What? Okay, I command X this one. I move to the back. I paste. Voila. There, that's compiling. Then I want to also change this one so that it looks like this, and then the token, I think, because I think what this one does is it's, oh no, okay. I was gonna say it's gonna use empty model without token. That just seems weird, huh? You could probably inline that, it would look a little bit better, I think. But that's still for a next refactoring. Okay, so I wanted token at the very end, and then auth flow is the penultimate argument. Yeah. Something's not compiling. Ah, this was also missed this one. Kinda lucky that I missed this one, because I wouldn't have been able to use expand selection on that one, because it's a single word. And the moment you do expand selection on it, you immediately get the word. But all of the others need multiple ones. So that's 1, and this is 2. Okay, and then since all of this stuff is now the same, and the only thing that's different there is we can set this up as an empty model, let's say. So then I'm just gonna try to refactor that. So this would be, I think empty model is already in use. So partial empty model and we'll add that somewhere in a let, so maybe here. Partial empty, empty model equals this part. And then we just fill the rest in behind it. Nice. Okay, then what? We can improve this as well, I think, so that it would look like partial empty model with this part and the token, because all of this should be in fact the same. Oh yeah, wow, wait. No, wait, in that case we need to move this here. Can we do that? Sure, it doesn't really matter all that much, because then our partial empty model will need to have this and then a nothing. And this will look like partial empty model with that and a token. That looks nicer, and much nicer in fact. It's in fact not just this, but it should look like that. Just token. Okay, this is how I want it to look like, and here it should be nothing. I don't know why it's... Let's revert this one. Oh no, okay, there we go. Now it's compiling again. So all of these, the partial empty model things, we should do this, get rid of that, then go to partial empty model and then say it should use the token at the very end, which is in fact just this one, I think. No. Well, I'm gonna get rid of this, use this one, and then make this thing into my maybe token. I guess token can be fine. And it will just be applied just like that. And then we can use, instead of empty model without token, it should be this with nothing there. This one should become, in fact, partial empty model with idle and then nothing. These all already work, and this one should become, yeah, just what it says there. Oh, that's a nice cleanup, eh? Looks good, eh? So basically this is prep, but what we could probably do, this is also quite weird, like I don't know. why I don't just put it behind this stuff, because it looks the same. That I don't know. So now we can even get rid of this one if we wanted. Because it's just the order that's different. And the only change here is that authflow and redirect URI have a different order. So yeah, they do take first authflow and then redirect URI in our model, but we can work those around. No, I don't know why we have all of these in fact now. So if you click on it, you can see where it's used, at least I think. Yeah. So this one is just used here. Empty model is only used here. So we can probably just inline this. Because this is the one that we want to keep, right? So hold on, you can't inline. Okay then. Since it's just a reordering, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, fuck, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, fuck, yeah. But token comes at the end, so what I can do is I can get rid of it, call this, and then add token at the very end, and it should still work. Nice. So now we've also inlined. We've got a one function that creates an empty model with token, but now I can rename it, and that does work. Yeah. Or I can say empty model. Voila. Is goed, hè? So really this is like the main empty model part. This is how we want to parse it. Alright, and we also wanted to make this into a route instantly here. So instead of passing the URL, I wanted to immediately do the parse URL there. But I already forgot the reason why. So first, let's do a little bit of a commit. Because I forget all of the stuff that we did otherwise. Let's see. Let's make this much bigger. Okay, so it already starts off quite well. This is the challenge page, basically, where we added the got fetch player response message to be able to deal with fetching a registered player. We've got a handler for that now. And then when you call init page, you're gonna fire that HTTP GET event there. Where we just attach the opponent ID to the URL just as it is. That's just a simple type alias. We only want a single fetched player and keep their nickname. We might need to also get the ID somehow. Then here we are in home, where we added that challenge button to manually navigate to a URL. So that's really just changing the URL using push URL. It was an experiment basically, this thing. Maybe we should delete it. Should we? No, because then I cannot actually test how it works if you would actually click on a player's name, for example. Okay, that's just adding the challenge button. Then here's the refactoring that we did. Look, we got rid of 3 functions to just use a partial application instead. Nice. Then we had to move the init page command higher so that we can both use it in an empty, where before, so if you're not authenticated, you would just always go to the leaderboard, even though the route would change to challenge. So there's like a mismatch there. We need to sort of figure out which route am I on, and then call the init page of that route. So that's what we'll need to do here in a better way, I think. And that way we'll have also much better looking code and much better readable code. This is still part of that refactoring. Here we ended up moving that init page to somewhere else. Yeah, because we also use it here, this init page. So there's now 2 places where it's important that we call init page. I guess if you, yeah, no, you need to say that you're gonna wanna trigger that command. Same for leaderboard or fetching the leaderboard. Okay, I'm thinking already about solutions of that. While I was just gonna go over all of the changes, still a refactoring. Here, the major refactoring that we did that made it all work all of a sudden, which was to just prefix the loading of our main.js from the root and specify that you want to load it from the root and not from the URL that you're currently serving on. So very important learning happening there. This was me adding Elm formats to my dev dependencies, which I think I might have ended up just installing globally or something and then referring to that, but it makes more sense if we add it to our dev dependencies. Some bullshit for NPM, no one cares. And then, yeah, we also added a bunch of README stuff. Maybe we need to complete this now with the solution. Then here we added a way to serve up all of the content, which wasn't working. So maybe I can put this in a separate commit, in fact. Okay, let's first do that. So that thing can go in a separate commit. Jesus, I don't remember. What did we do here? This would be application change or a config change, basically. Making sure calls that don't go to /API are in fact being forwarded to static serving of HTML. That's that. Then we wanted to change the README of the, of the UI. Nice. Let's go into full editing mode. Hola. Oh god, I hate this. So this is another thing that IntelliJ needs to fix. So when you open a README and you press the Command P shortcut, IntelliJ, I don't know what happens, but it's trying to warn you that you're changing multiple cursors. Oh, no, it's still doing that. Oh god. Oh god, that's annoying. Okay. Let's do it again. README. Okay, now it is working. I don't want to try to reproduce this because it's really annoying. Let's go. Then we got the blah blah blah. So after a week of thinking about this problem and not finding a solution, during the live stream, I finally figured out that the main.js was not being loaded from the root, but instead from the path. Yeah. Which made complete sense, in fact, because of this. And now I want to look at index.html and show this piece of code. Okay, this is the fix. So all I needed to do was to specify that main.js should always be loaded from the root. And I added a slash. Horrible. That fixed everything. Okay, so that is all. Then this is really a new feature, I think. So it's this, but I guess it's also still a whip. Now you can open the challenge page with a hard refresh, and it'll load the player info of the opponent. Oh my. Let's push it. What's this? Wait. This is a comment I made at 20 past 11 last week. I added the opponent ID and the name. Okay. It's sort of fixed. Okay, now let's think about how to infect Mayung. So this ID we want to replace with the one in the database. Let's do this one. Because then I can reproduce that part as well. And we should end up in main.html or main.elm again. I guess. No, this is not correct. Maybe it'll be a better idea if we first write some code that calls the init page based on the current route. And I guess the reason why I'm saying that is because there's also a function here somewhere called navigate or route or parse route, maybe. Nee? It's difficult to find like a good place for this. Because key, we can't really do anything with that stuff. but there should be, let's go back to the documentation. There is something, no, I don't want it, don't want it. What was it here? Navigator. I want the tutorial thing again. Where is that? Ah, I suddenly remembered. So in our update function, because now that our application is of type application instead of browser document, we get link clicked and URL changed events. And these are defined in the browser application. Okay, there we go. Whew. So this basically intercepts a bunch of stuff and then fires these events, link clicked and URL changed. And then you can just handle them in your update function. So here you go, URL changed. Then we just change the current route again. And instead of just doing this, we should also now load the init, or like initialize the page basically. So maybe it's gonna be better to, oh yeah, I don't really know about that in fact. I think current route is, yeah, we need that somehow, but we also need information on whether it was loaded or not, I think. I'm not really sure anymore now. I'm already happy that it's going so much better than last week. So I think I'm gonna stick with the thing as I said first, but maybe add some to-dos here. So to-do, make sure we also init page here, just like we do in init. So here we go to init. And here we also do, see, it's the next command that we want. Voila. I think that's the way to go, in fact. So that way our URL changed will never be the last one. So I think we might, oh, it's gonna be, let me think real quick. So we're not changing the model here, in fact. And that's sort of important, I guess. Ah, nee, it's not. Oh yeah. Okay, I've got a great idea. Hear me out, huh? So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that my empty model, or my model basically, does not take URL as a as an argument. I only want routes. So let's make that happen first. Ooh, oh my god, yes. And because we did that nice refactoring before, we can just change that in one place, which is here. So this stuff should become parse URL. And then this is going to become the route. And here we just do this. And normally we should be good already. Unless we use empty models somewhere else. Yeah. Honestly, it was a great refactoring. And now we can clearly see that both the route and what you need to do to initialize that route basically is tied together. So now we have a choice. In fact, we can say, do we want to first initialize the partial empty model, and then basically just deduce what the init page command is based on our model, and then that would just change into something like that. Init page with the partial empty model and then init page, let's write that here, is something that takes a model and in fact outputs a cmd and then we say init page takes in a model, we do paste. And now really what we can do is parse URL of, oh, we don't even need to do that because we can say model.current route, because our empty model here, it's just an, yeah, shit. So what does this not have yet? I guess it's the token or something. Because it's a function. I was gonna say it's a function that hasn't created anything yet, but I think I'm wrong. Because this will have, I think, created a record. No, I think it still wouldn't have created anything yet. Wait a minute, because now empty model looks like it's being... yeah, no. God, so empty model without the last argument has not created a complete record yet. It's only when you pass along the token that is gonna create a model. Okay, so then maybe using... Okay, I don't remember where I was typing last. Okay, here in init page. Yeah, we don't get a model. In fact, we're getting a partial function, and I don't know if I want to pass the function to extract the current route out of there. That seems like a horrible idea. So let's not pass a model, but what's happening? Let's pass the route here instead. Ooh, or maybe we can use it to create the route, maybe? That could be cool. The place where we update the route based on a URL. So that would be this part here. Maybe we can extend our route a bit. But then you would put the command type on... No, I don't want to do that. Jesus fucking... I hate doing this. Okay, we've got init page with the, so we don't want to do this. So we want to do, let's first extract that to route and say route equals this one. Maybe call it current route. should have renamed there. Let's correct our mistake by refactoring. Voila. Then I want to pass init page with the current route. Then this should get a, I think it's a route. Voila. And then here we can just say, use the default one, and then fetch leaderboard can become the init page of array of home. So yeah, maybe no, I want both things. So I want init page here as well. And then if we go to home, right next to fetch leaderboard, what? What did it look like before? Perform fetch leaderboard. Perform fetch leaderboard. Let's also say that init equals that, or init page. Voila. Okay, so we don't have a type safe way to do that yet, but it should be okay. And then maybe what I want to do is in fact put all of this stuff. I can't do that because a home message is it's defined in main, and you can only have a single direction of dependency. So you can have a dependency of main to its sub pages, which is what I have now, but not back. I think this is fine like this then. But then, so fetch leaderboard is a bit weird because it's being used here. And I think what I want to do is replace this with init page. So I guess I'll have to get rid of that anyway. So I'll get rid of that. And then we'll just say, this is it. Just do home. And now I think what I want to do, I'm not really sure what all of the possible variants are. So if I do home, what? Okay, anonymous home page. Then you should initialize using that. And then if it's a registration page, registration, don't yeah, I actually, for good measure, what I should do now is actually do this. Registration message, registration.init page, which should just be an empty command. So let's go to, see you, Karel. Thanks for hanging out, for your great suggestions. Hope to see you next time as well. Let's do init page here somewhere, where we just say init page equals cmd.none. So don't send the command to initially fetch stuff. Which should be fine, eh? Because we don't want to load anything upon showing that page. Well, not yet at least. But at least now the, how do you say it, like the sort of convention is there. I didn't want to say contract, but at least the convention is there that all of these pages have an init page. Ha! Cool! Hey, that's cool. I think we can safely remove this. Yeah. So now this always uses init page with the current route based on our route, which is important because that's gonna make it reusable. Then we will always use the init page command, and I don't think we have fixed that yet. So here it should always be this and this. Why clear URL is a thing, I don't know. I guess that's if it's the redirect URI. Yeah. So if you get redirected from, ooh, maybe that just works out of the box now. Holy shit. Okay, we'll have to check that, but I'm not sure yet if it works. In any case, you'll also always want to do a command with the init page. What's this stuff? Get user info. Ah, yeah. So that's like the instant trading of that thing, and then we will init the page. This looks great, yeah. Fucking hell. And it's compiling, so it should still work. Let's verify that I'm not in fact lying. Looks like I am lying. Or no, my token has expired probably. So that I also need to still fix. So I want to get rid of this token or the cookie. Then I think what I want to do first is log in again using Mr. Rat's credentials, and I always forget it's spelled out fully. So we are Mr. Rat, and now our system knows us. We can do a hard refresh. Voila, that still works. So everything else is still working. Now we just need to make sure that when we just route to... Waar gaat dat staan? Okay, I remember again in the update function, this is where we added that to do. So make sure we also init page here. Now all of a sudden this has become super easy because we can just write init page using parse URL. Then we'll see that both of these things are the same thing. So we can actually do let route or something equals parse URL, and then we just say we update the current route, and we pass along the route to the init page. And it's compiling again. So now if we click through, so let's go back to the main page, then click on this button, and now it should immediately also have scallop there. Nice. Oh man. Okay, so I love it. I absolutely love it when stuff in Elm just works and makes sense, you know? Oh god. So even if we do a hard refresh now, it's still gonna work. Okay, that favicon is not loading, but who cares? Oh. And now maybe the other thing I want to do, or the thing I want to do next probably, is I not only want to get the nickname out of the opponent, but also their ID. Even though it's in the URL, it'll be a little bit more easy if we get it in the model itself. So in here, voila, ID is not filled in. I think what we can do now as well, yeah, bleh, whatever. Oh my god, we're getting so close to actually challenging. First let's commit this, because this was a really nice refactor, I think, and actually also a fix. So now you can open the challenge page from a clicked link, and also init the page in the same way as a hard refresh. Commit. Yeah, so the one thing I wanted to really add here is that it should be the case that every time when we change the route, that the init page stuff is also called. And yeah, I don't really have how do you say that? I don't really have like a processor for that, but maybe I should have one. Which actually makes sense now, because both the init function and the update function sort of have a similar signature, or at least they're outputting the same type. And I think that's quite important as like a concept. So both the init and the update function are returning a model and then stuff you want to run afterwards. So maybe what we can do here is, instead of doing both of these at the same time, wait, no, this and this. So what I want to do is like that. This stuff belongs together, always. But here it's a bit more difficult, because we are we want to set it up with the partial stuff first, and then like perform the model update. Let me think a bit. Because the only reason that we want this current route here is because it will never change. It will never change. It's always this thing with current route and key and redirect URI. And if I go to my update function, where we've got the place where we're handling URL changed, we want to update our model, and that's a little bit different, I guess. What we could do is, instead of, maybe that's like a thing we could do. Because URL changed is in fact changing, or is in fact doing this. So instead of I was gonna say, instead of manually doing it ourselves here, is what we could also do, Maya, then you there's a chance that your current route doesn't exist and you don't want to be in that state. The thing I was gonna say is I could maybe in my init always like return at the very end something like, so instead of this init page cmd, you could say always return the URL changed. Just throw URL changed with URL as by cmd. And once you do this, okay, so it doesn't compile, but so I want something that throws this basically. So I don't know, always, I think, or something. No. Mop. Ah, fuck, I forget. Something that makes you just throw this message, but I don't think it's a good idea anymore. Oops. I think I changed too much. Yeah, okay. This is just reordering it a bit. So what was that? Is that lipstick? You're just using fancy words. It'll look great on my resume when I make this open source at some point. That was a joke, by the way, yeah? I'm still thinking about how to make these two work together all the time. The updating of the model and the message itself, because we've got our model late. I've got no idea why we don't just inline this here. It's a bit silly. You always want to do this, in fact, and now that I'm looking at all of the rest, it seems weird that we don't want to do clear URL in this case. Because clear URL, it's if you are redirected or something. So what we're doing here is we're stripping the current URL of any query and fragments. Well, I don't really know why though. That's the thing. Okay, anyway, some more refactoring here. I forgot what it was already. Let's check it out. Yeah, so we just, it's a simple inline. Simple inline. All right, so now we've got the part working where you can manually link to the challenge page and the init page will fire. Then you can hard refresh and the init page will fire. The next step was to add the opponent ID to the challenge thing. So not a web, but in UI, we've got our challenge page. And when we do something like get player or something, or fetch player, handle fetch player response, nice. Then our newly fetched player will do opponent nickname is equal to that thing. And we'll also do opponent ID equals newly fetched player dot ID, which I'm aware that we don't have that thing yet. So that would be this thing. It would be the result type of this success or an OK. So that's this registered player here. And the first thing I'll do is maybe I'll first add the ID, which I think in fact looks like, or I called it just ID, I'm not sure anymore, but we will see. Then we need two decoders to map into registered player, so I want map2, and then I want first the ID and then the nickname. And that's not how it works, apparently. Is it? No, it's not an array. Okay, let's try to interpret this thing. Required decoder of a registered player, but it's returning a function that takes in a decoder of a string and then returns a decoder of a registered player. So that's what we've got here, but then map2 isn't the thing I wanted or something. Yeah, you just need to list them both. Okay. So it's like this then. No? No, yeah, cock. Then we'll need to reverse it in the other direction. So we'll do. Does that work? So map2, the first argument is basically the constructor for a registered player. So it takes in two arguments and then creates a registered player. Then it takes two decoders and then produces the decoder for that value. So yeah, so we cannot do this. Yeah, so with map1 it would work because the result is just that thing really. So now we do have 2 decoders basically that we can chain one after the other. Okay, nice. Voila. I think we already are exposing that in our player controller. If we check get by player ID, we're exposing a registered player JSON. Oh, it's got player ID, not just ID. Good thing I check. Voila. We save. And then I guess we can refresh. Oh, we're getting a 401 already. Yeah, so what I haven't figured out yet is how to do job token refreshes, like auto refreshes. And I'm afraid it's gonna be a UI concern, which is not really great. So let's go back to here. So the other thing I noticed last time was that it expires at 2109. That's passed for a while. 2109, so if I log in again, this thing does not get overridden, in fact. And that's the thing I don't really get. So even though my... wait, I think I know why that is now. I think I know why that is. So I guess I can make that work if I invalidate the token, or basically don't accept the token in my security config, where I do the cookie bearer token resolver thing. So what we're doing here is we are checking the cookie if it has a job token on the cookie, then I just return it. So it returns a string. But really what I should do here is also check the validity basically. And then fall back to using this one if the validity check, or if this job token has expired, then I'm gonna try and do this, because hopefully there will be a token on the authentication header, and then it's gonna use that one. That's a to do. How am I gonna write that? To do. If the jot on the cookie has expired, fall back to the jot on the bearer header, authorization header. Okay. Because if that doesn't happen, or if that's not the case, then we can throw back an unauthorized exception and then have our UI just present, hey, do you want to log in again maybe? Your session has expired, something like that. Okay, I think I want to first not include that. Something like add a to-do with an idea to deal with expired jobs cookies. That's it. And then we can continue with verifying that that changes to challenge.elm worked. Okay, so let's get rid of this one. Then log in again. So we still have a session in Keycloak because the expiry there, or the session there, is not expired. But we are getting a new cookie. So it's Zulu time. So it hasn't expired yet. No, it still says 21:32. I'm not sure if it's gonna work then. Oh, it is working. Then I don't know. Anyway, I was gonna check if the opponent ID is filled in now. Looks like it is with the right one. Nice. Nice. We can commit that. We do whip. Now also parsing the player or the player ID to be used as an opponent ID. Cool. Commit. And then what? I guess we want to fill some stuff in here. Press challenge, and then it should create a challenge. I think we're at that point, finally. But it is 6 till 10, and it might be a great idea to stop now, in fact, because then we know what to do next time. Because, okay, what will happen? Future Tim is gonna check if there are any to-dos maybe, but he might also check this, then see, oh, what did we already do? UI form to find another player to challenge, UI form to challenge the selected player. Let's do this first. Then at least future Tim will know that we should work on this thing first. I think instead of finding another player to challenge, we should reword this a bit. Enable clicking, Jesus Christ, on another player, redirects to challenge page. Voila. That's way more clear than this part. Afterthought, let's say. Let's first do these. Okay, so hopefully future Tim is gonna open this, find this bit first, and then do exactly that. Okay. That's good enough, huh? All right, let's finally review all of the stuff that we did tonight. There's only one branch there. Can we check the details here? Yeah, okay, nice. So let's find out here. So the first thing we did is making sure that calls that don't go to /API are in fact being forwarded to the static serving of HTML. That was really just that the stuff in application controller there, or the main application where we just forward stuff. Then now you can open the challenge page with a hard refresh and it'll load the player info of the opponent. Main important thing here was this. It's so silly, but that's it. Then we had the same. Nee. So if you click on the link, both clicking on the link and a hard refresh will do the same change, and that we mainly changed in this bit here, where we did a little refactor, and we've got this init page thing now, which still isn't type safe, which would be really cool. But yeah. Yeah, I sort of want that to still be type safe, but it's for another time. I think I'm already really happy with this current solution there. Then we reordered a bunch of code a little bit around so that both current route and init page are together, because these are important together, they belong that way. Then some bullshit inline so that it looks more structured. We added that to do. It's the thing we just did. And then finally we also made sure that the opponent ID of the registered player is also there. So maybe as a final thing, let's reword this into opponent, because it's not just any registered player, it's the opponent in our case. Even though the type that we're getting back from the server is in fact a registered player. Why is that? Because our application or our player controller is returning a registered player JSON. So maybe we want to keep it called the same way, so that we at least notice when stuff is the same. And that's all I had for tonight. It looks like it's such a little thing, but in fact it was, for me, it was a big thing. Guess we need to add some kind of a home button somewhere. Huh? Really cool. So ideally I want to click on this and then basically challenge Scallop, and if I click on Mr. Red, I should try to challenge Mr. Red. All right. Okay. I hope you enjoyed it as well as much as I did this time again. I haven't checked yet, but yeah, I hope I can code again next Tuesday. We might or we might not, we will see. Alright, I guess you will see. I'll just ping in the regular announcement channels. So that would be the Discord, my Discord. Go here. If you're interested in previous recordings, go to YouTube. And yeah, if you got questions, also you can ask in Discord. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next stream. Have a nice evening, day, or whatever, and then see you just next time. Peace. Bye.